Hello all, this is Santosh and welcome to Tech Design. So this is going to be a second video on SolidWorks tutorial, guys. So if you are not checking my previous tutorial, please go to SolidWorks playlist, and also I will give you the link in the comment section. You can just go to the playlist and check out my first video. So in this tutorial, we are going to learn complete about a sketcher environment. So in the sketcher environment, there are many things to discuss. First, we need to discuss how we can enter into our sketches and how we can draw our curves and lines, and then how we can make relations between the curves and lines and giving the dimensions to particular curves and lines, and then finally how we can check whether our sketch is fully defined or it is not defined. So we are going to discuss each and everything one by one. So first of all, before going into sketch environment, I'll just create a part model. So I'll just go to new here, or else we can also go to new here. So you can just go to new, and I'm going to select a part here. I'll just click OK. So this will take you to 3D modeling workbench. So you can see here, this is a 3D modeling workbench. We have all the three planes and one origin over here. So usually these three are hidden. So if you want to switch on them, you can just switch on. And you can see here there are sketcher environment, all commands will be available, and here there will be a 3D model features. So now we are going to concentrate on only the sketcher environment. The first thing is I'm going to tell you how to enter into a sketcher environment. So there are multiple ways you can just choose to go into a sketcher environment. The first thing is you can just select a plane on which you want to create a sketch, and then you can go to sketch here. So as soon as you do this, it will be there in the sketch environment. Now we have entered into sketch environment. So I'll just finish it. The other way is you can just go to sketch command first. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'll just go to sketch command first, and I'm going to select a plane later. Okay. So this is the another way of creating a entering into a sketcher environment. So, and there are many other ways. So suppose if these are switched on, and you can see here there are many planes, and you can select this plane and you can just go to sketcher here, or you can select it here and there will be a sketch command over here. So this is also one way. So depending on your requirement, because depending on your convenient, you can just go to sketcher environment. So the basically I recommend is just go to sketcher environment and then select a plane which you want to create a sketch. So now once we are into the sketch, so how you are going to verify that you are into the sketcher environment. So only easy way you can able to understand whether you are in the sketch environment or in the part modeling, by seeing this command. You can see here exit sketch. So exit sketch in the sense you are there in the sketch. Suppose if you exit it, you can see the sketch command will be there. So once you are inside the sketch, it will be automatically switched to exit sketch. So this is the one way how we can able to understand that you are in the sketch environment. So the other way is you can see here there is an exit sketch also, and here the reject sketch is also there. So using these two commands also you can able to get whether you are in sketcher environment or not. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to set some sketcher settings. So we can just go to tools and sketch settings, and here you can see there are multiple settings are available. So automatic relations, you can just keep it on, and enable snapping, this you can also keep it on. So automatic relation is nothing but it will create an automatic relation. So whenever you try to create a line along a horizontal line, so suppose if you hit one point and another point at some distance with horizontally, so it will automatically create the horizontal relation for that particular line. Say for example, if you are creating a perpendicular line, so in that case also it will directly create the perpendicular relation. So you don't need to go to relation and give the relation for that particular lines. Okay, so enable snapping is nothing but say there is a circle and you want to pick a center of the circle, so it will automatically enable the snapping to particular center of the circle. So that is how it works. So these two things you can make switch on and switch off depending on requirement. And this shaded sketch contours I'm going to explain it in a later way. Okay, so now we are into a sketcher environment. So there are many things we need to discuss in sketcher environment. The first thing is creating a lines and curves, and the second thing is editing those created lines and arcs. Say for example, one line is bigger and another line is smaller. If you want to trim a line, if you want to extend a line, how we are going to do that? That is the one which comes in editing the parts. So the third is you need to make a dimension. So you need to give dimensions for every line and every curves or any arcs. Okay, so that is the third thing. The fourth thing is making a relationship, whether it is a concentric or it is a parallel or it's a perpendicular. So creating a relationship. So these are the things that we are going to discuss in Sketcher environment. So you can see here, these are the simple curves creation, and this is the editing the curves. So this is going to be a dimensioning arcs and curves. And then we can see here there is a relation. So how we can create a relation. So before going into all these things, I'm going to explain you curves. Okay. So curve, the first thing will be line. So you can just hit a line and you can start with one point and another point. So this is going to be your line. So this line command and whatever the line is going to continue. So suppose if you want to break it, just double click. Okay. So it is going to break, or else you can create it and hit escape. Okay, so this is going to end up the line command. Okay, so inside the line itself, you can see here multiple operations are there. So as sketched in the sense, so there is no dimension constraint or there is no orientation constraint. So it is, the line is created based on the way how you sketch. Okay, so horizontal in the sense, the line will be always created to horizontal. Say for example, now I'm clicking here and my mouse, you can see here it is going down. Okay, so I'm dragging it to the downside, but it is not going downside because we have selected a horizontal, so it always keeps that horizontal. Okay, so now in case if you select a vertical, so if you try to move it along right side or left side, so it is going to be on vertical. Okay, so in the same way, we have one more option, that is by angle. So you're going to give an angle of some angle here, say for example 30 degree. Okay, so suppose if you tap it here, so it will always be in a 30-degree angle. So either it may be a positive 30 degree or negative 30 degree. Okay, so this is the way, how simple way you can just create a lines. So I'll just hit Control A so that all the lines will be selected, and I'll hit delete. Okay, and inside the line itself, we can see there is a center line. So in the center line also, the all the options remain same, but here you are going to create a center line, not a line. Okay, so this is going to be a center line. So in the same way, we have horizontal and vertical, all the options are same. And then there is a line called midpoint line. So in the first point, we are going to select the midpoint of the particular line. So suppose this origin point should be our midpoint of the line. So then in this case, you need to select this first and you need to extend it. So you can see here, this is our line, but our midpoint is over here. Okay, so to better understanding, I'm just going to switch off these. Okay, so now you can see here, this is our line. The midpoint of this particular line will be at origin. So suppose if you want to define a midpoint at the starting, so in that case, you can just use this particular option. Okay, so the next option is circle. So you can see here circle. So when you hit a circle, there are two options are available. One is with the radius and then center point of the circle, and the other one is 3-point circle. Okay, so the first thing is center point. So you are going to define a center point and then you are going to give a radius. Okay, so these 2 points you need to mention it here in order to create a circle. So there is a one more option which is called 3-point arc. So you need to mention 3 points. You can see here 3 points. By using these 3 points, you can able to create a circle. So when this 3-point will be useful, say for example, you have a rectangle here. So this is going to be a rectangle, and you need to create a circle in such a way that it should pass through all these 3 points. So in that case, you can just go to circle and by 3 points. So this is my first point, second point, and third point. So you can see here, from all these 3 points, a circle is going. So that is how we can create a 3-point circle. Okay, so that's all we have in this circle. And the next option is spline. So spline is something which is less used in Sketcher environment. So you can just tap the points wherever you want. So it is going to create a spline. And if you want to edit it, you can just select the point and you can change the angle and you can change the the length also. Okay, so I'm not going. So this is how we can create a spline. And then we have one more option called style spline. So here what happens is you will have these lines also along with a spline. So using these lines, you can able to modify this particular spline. Okay. And then we have this rectangle. So rectangle also we have multiple options here. So usually the most cases used will be 2-point rectangle. So these 2 points you are going to input in such a way that it should be in a diagonal. So one point is over here and another point I'm going to give it here. So it will be in a diagonal manner. So based on that, the rectangle will be created. Okay. In the same way, we have this center point. So suppose if you want, rectangle center to be origin, so you can just select it and you can just give the other point. So this case, the center point will be, the origin will be the center point of this particular rectangle. Okay. And then there is a third option, that is a 3-point arc. So you are going to select one point and another point is over here and then third point. So this is how we can create a 3-point rectangle. Okay, so the next is again the center point. So 3 points. So suppose this is the center point and I'm going to extend this and here is my rectangle. So this is the first point and second point and then third point. Okay. So and then there is a last one which will give you an angle. Say for example, this is my rectangle. So suppose if you want an angle here, so this you can able to provide it by using this option. Okay. So this is going to be a rectangle, how we can create a rectangle. So the next is arc, how we can create an arc. So arc creation and circle creation remains same. So we need to give a center point here and then we are going to provide a 1 point and then there will be a second point. So this will going to create your arc. Okay. So the second method is say 3-point arc. So we are going to define 3 points here and it is going to create a arc. But there is a one more option here. We need to give a tangent arc. Say for example, there is a line or something. So if you want to make tangency, you can see here, it is going to create a tangency between at the start point. Okay. So again, if you have a line and for this line, if you want to create a tangent arc, so you can just go to arc here and tangent arc you can select and you can select and you can create an arc. So always the first point will have a tangent. So you can see here, this is also tangent and this is also tangent. Okay. So the next is ellipse. So how we can create an ellipse? So ellipse, so you just need to give center point and major circle and minor radius. So major radius and minor radius. So these two things you need to define here. And there are multiple options over here. You can see here partial ellipse and parabola conic. So these things are not much useful. So I'm not going to discuss on that. Okay. So the next is you can see here slots. So there are different kinds of slots. So first slot is very simple. So you are going to select the first point and second point. So these points, whatever you are selecting, it is for center line. So once these 2 points are defined, you need to go above. So once this is gone above, you are going to able to create a particular slot. So whenever it comes to a slot, first you are going to define a center line and then you are going to define a particular radius. So in the same way here also, so this way it is a centered slot. So for example, if you want this origin to be center of the slot, so you can just go to slot and this time it is center slot. So first point and I'm going to define a second point of center line and then I'm going to define the radius. Okay. So now you can see the origin will be the center of this particular slot. Okay. And then we have other one which is arc shape. So in the same way, how we are going to create an arc by using a center point and a radius, and otherwise there will be a 3-point arc. So this is going to be a 3-point arc. So whenever it comes to a slot, so first we are going to define an arc. So arc, how we are going to define first point, second point and third point. Once this is defined, you can drag it and define a particular radius. Okay. In the same way, so if you want to make a center point to define first, so you need to define a center point first and then this is going to be my center line and now we can get a slot. So this way you can able to create all kinds of slots. Okay. So now we can see here there is a polygon. So polygon is nothing but when any closed profile is having more than 4 edges, then you can say it as a polygon. So suppose if you want 5 edges, you can just enter it here. So suppose if you want 5 or 6 or 7, whatever it is, you can define it here. So now I'm going to define it as 6, and this is going to be my center line, and you can see we can able to define this particular polygon. So this is how we can create all these curves and lines. So now we can see here the end is a sketch fillet. So these two are fillet and chamfers. So this I'm going to discuss with you. So I'm going to create a simple rectangles. Okay, and here you can see. So I will show you how we can create an edge fillet. So you can just go to here and sketch fillet and select these two, and you can just right click. Okay, you can see the value of 0.1. So it is too less. So let us make it as a 2 inch. Okay, and now I'm going to select this, and I'll just do right click. Okay, so same way you can just select these two and just right click. So select 2 edges and then make a right click, and whatever the value we have given, so it will be entered. Okay, so that is how we can create a edge fillet. So now we can see here chamfer. So here it is created a curves, but here it is going to create a fillet. Okay, so you need to enter a value, say for example 2 inches. So select these two, it is going to create a particular edge fillet. Okay, so there are 3 different types of edge fillet. So you can see here angle and distance, and suppose if you want to give angle and some distance, so you can just provide it here. So 45 degree and 2 inches. So once this is done, you can see here from this point there will be a 2 inches, and it has a 45 degree angle with this particular line. And suppose if you want to give one side 2 inch and another side 4 inch, so you can just go for distance and equal distance. You can just switch off this, and 2 inches and 4 inches, and here you can just select these two lines. You can see here this is going to be 2 inch, this is going to be 4 inch. So this is how we can able to create all the curves and lines. So far whatever we have discussed is for creating the lines and arcs. So from this onwards, whatever we are going to discuss is for editing the lines and arcs. So if you want to trim it or if you want to extend it, so how we are going to do it. So that is how we are going to discuss. So now what I'm going to do is say for example, I'll just draw a line here. Okay, so this is my first line, and then again just go to line. So L is the shortcut for line, so you can just press L to activate the line command. Okay, so you can see here this is the line, and I'll just go to trim entities. Okay, so there are multiple trim entities, and the most common use is trim to closest and power trim. Okay, and also the corner. So these two I'm not going to discuss, so I'm going to discuss these 3. Okay, so corner. So first of all, let me discuss to trim to closest. So it will trim any kind of lines and arcs until the next point. Say for example, if I'm going to trim this, so it is going to trim from this point to this point. You can see here. And suppose if you want to trim this, it will trim until the next point, and there is an arc here, so it will be trimmed. So trim to closest is the closest point it will pick and trim until that. So you can see here, if you want to trim it and if you want to trim it, you can just trim this particular. So now we'll go to trim, and you can see the power trim. So power trim is the trim command where whenever you draw a line, the intersection curves, whatever the intersection curves will be there, so all those curves will be deleted. Say for example, now we'll have this curve something like this. Okay, and then I'll just go to quick trim and power trim. So here I'm going to trim intersect this, and then I'm not going to intersect this, I'll just go to here. So whatever the intersection happens, then that curve will be deleted. So it is the way how we can use this. And the next one is corner. So this is also most commonly used command. So how it is going to work, let me discuss with you. So you can see here there is a line, and I'm going to draw one more line here. Okay, so this is the second line. So suppose if you want to create a corner at this point, you need to trim this extra line. So how you are going to do, you can just go to corner and select this line and this line. You can see, so now you can see it has been trimmed. So when it comes to the corner, it is not only trim the particular lines, it will also extend the lines. Say for example, now we'll have the line here. Okay, so we need a corner here by using this line and this line. So we can just go to trim and corner. So select this line and this line. So this time what happens? It has been extended this particular line. So this corner is going to make both way, whatever it is, either it has to trim or it has to extend. So it can do both the things, but its main intention is to create a corner. So that's how it works. Say for example, in this case, this is length is more and there is a one more line here. Okay, and if you want to create a corner here, so in order to create a corner here, this line has to extend and this line has to trim. So it can do both. So if you go to corner and select these two, you can see one line is extended, another line is trimmed. So this is how it works when it comes to corner. So far, whatever we have discussed is for trimming the particular lines and curves that we have created. So, and now from this onwards, whatever we are going to discuss, that is for creating the multiple instances of particular lines and curves. Say for example, we have a line, or say for example, we have a circle here. So if you want a multiple numbers in a different manner, so how we are going to create? By using these options. So you can see here, there is an offset entity. So if you want to offset this curve, you can just select this curve and you need to enter the value here. Say for example, 1 inch, and you can see at 1 inch, there will be an offset circle will be created. Similarly, like that, you can just create n number of offset curves. So this is how it is not only working in, circle. Suppose if you have a rectangle also, this offset will work. So you can just go to offset and select this curve. You can see here it has been created. Suppose if you want in a reverse direction, you can create it, and if you want to add a dimension or not, you can just select it here. And suppose if you want to only extend this, whatever the line we have selected, so you can just switch off this. Only over the line which you select, that is going to extend. And if you want to make a bi-directional, both direction in the inside and outside, so you can just select it. So you can choose these options based on your requirement, and you can just click OK. Okay, so this is going to be an offset. So now we are going to discuss on mirror entities. So how we are going to mirror it? So for in everywhere when it comes to mirror, so we need a center line to be defined. So before going to create any mirror feature, so you need to have a center line. So for that, I'm going to create a center line here. So this is going to be my center line, and we have a circle here. So this circle, I want to mirror it on the other side. So you can just go to mirror, and now you can see here entities to mirror. So these are the entities that I wanted to mirror, and mirror about this line. Okay, so you can just click OK. It has been mirrored. So similarly, you can choose n number of options, n number of entities, and you should have one, center line. Okay, so in the same way, you can see here pattern. So linear pattern, and then it will have a circular pattern. So both we are going to discuss. So linear pattern is nothing but it goes along a direction. So along direction, whatever the direction you provide. But in a circular, it is nothing but it's have a circular pattern. Okay, so now I'm going to select this entity. Okay, so now let's go to linear pattern, and here what I'm going to do is I need to give a direction here. You can see here X direction is already given. So now I'm going to select the entity. So this is the entity, and you can see here the spacing and instances has come here. So now let me drag this. Okay, so you can see the spacing is nothing but the center point to center point distance. So that is what the spacing is nothing but, and the instance is number of quantities, how many number of quantities you want. Say for example, I want 5 quantities. So you can just hit 5, and 5 number of circles will come. And between each circle, suppose if you want to change the spacing, so how we are going to do? So spacing can be changed here. You can see this is 2.8. So now if you want to give 5 mm, 5 inches, so it will have a 5 inch distance. Okay, so this is how we can create. You can just click OK. It will create a particular linear sketch pattern. Okay, I'll just do Control Z. Okay, and then we have the arc here. So suppose if you want to make circular pattern. So I'm going to delete this also, and this circle I wanted to make it as a circular pattern. So in this case, go to circular pattern. So now entities, I'm going to define this as an entity, and you can see here the center point, it has been picked by this point. Suppose if you want to change it, you can just change it. And number of quantities, you can see here 4 numbers. Suppose if you want 6 quantities, so you can just hit 6, and total number of angle is 360 degree. Suppose if you want only 3 quantities in 180 degrees, so you can just provide it here. Okay, so here you can see here from this point to this point there is a 180-degree angle, and between these angle there will be 3 circles. So depending on your requirement, you can change all these options, and you can just click OK. Okay, so you can see here 3 circles we got, and from this center. So this is the way how we can create a linear sketch pattern and circular pattern. Okay, so now so far we have created a curves, and then we have created a multiple instances of curves, and that's all. So now we are going to discuss on creating the dimensions. So how we are going to create a dimension. Say for example, there is an arc here, circle here, and then there is a rectangle here, and then there is a line here. So for this line you need to provide a length, and for this rectangle also you need to provide a length, and for this circle you need to provide a radius or diameter. So how we are going to do this? So instead of selecting all these options, so you can just go to smart dimension. So smart dimension is the one which will be combined of arc, angle, and length, everything. So it depends on how you select. So you're going to select this line, so then it will give a length. So say for example, you are going to select this line and this line. So now what it is going to be, it is going to give a particular angle. Say for example, I'm going to select this line and this line. So you can see here the angle will come. So depending on your requirement, you can just go to smart dimension, and if you select an arc, it is going to give a radius or diameter, and you can just enter the value, and you can just click OK. And here also it is same way. You can just give the length here, and here also you can just mention the values here. Say for example 4.5 inch, and you can just click enter. So here also if you want to give 2 inches, so you can just hit 2 and enter. So this is the easiest way you can just create when it comes to smart dimensions. So only thing is here, suppose you need to create an angle. So in that case you need to select 2 lines. Say for example, you need to provide an angle here. So go to smart dimensions and select this line and this line. So it is going to create a particular angle. So 50 degree, and click enter. So it is going to be 50 degree. So this is how we can give the dimensions for any kind of profile. So you can just use the smart dimensions. So it will take care of all kind of dimensions. You can able to provide it. So now I'm going to delete this. So now we have come to a critical part of the sketch, that is for creating the relations. So relations are nothing but it will restrict the movement of sketches. Say for example, we have a line here, and we are going to draw a line. So if this is the line, and you are going to give a dimensions here, so smart dimensions, and this is going to be 10 inches. Okay, and then you can see here this is with some angle. So you need to provide an angle here, or else if you want, you can just make it as a horizontal line. So how you are going to do, you can just select the this particular line, and you can go to here, add relations. So if you do this, you can see there is a green icon, that is nothing but it is horizontally aligned. So now you can see it is been completely defined. So you are going to restrict the particular, not only restricting the curves, it also reduces the number of dimensions that you need to define. Okay, so we are going to discuss about these relations, how we can create a different kinds of relations. There will be a coincide relation and tangents relations, all the types of relations we are going to discuss now. So now we can see here, I'm going to draw a line here. Okay, so this point and this point, if you want to make coincide, you can just select this point and hit Control and select this point. So those 2 points should be selected. On that you can just go to coincide. So these 2 points are going to coincide. So once this is coincide, we also have a basic relation, that is vertical and horizontal. So you can just select a line here, and if you want to make it as a vertical or horizontal, you can just make it here. So I'm going to make it horizontal, And suppose I'm going to draw one more line here from this point. Okay, one more line. So if you want to make it as a vertical, so you can just select this and go to vertical layer. So this is going to be a vertical symbol, and this is going to be a horizontal symbol, and this is going to be a coincide. So this point and this rectangle point is coincide each other. So that is how it works. Okay, so and then we have suppose let me draw an circle here, and if you want to make a tangency here between these two, select this, hit control and select this line, and between these two you're going to give a tangency. Okay, so in this case you can see here, once the tangency is given, so there will be an extra line. So suppose if you want to delete it, so go to trim and trim to the closest, and you can trim it here. Okay, and then we have the other relations, so let us discuss on that. Okay, so and then next a relation will be a perpendicularity and parallelism. So suppose there are two lines here, so suppose if you want to make them perpendicular, so you can just select them both. So how you are going to select, hit control and select both, and you can see here perpendicular, so you can just make it as a perpendicular. So suppose if you want to make a any lines, two lines, if you want to make a parallel, so you can just select this line and control select both the lines and make them parallel. Okay, and if you want to make a collinear, so collinear nothing but, so two lines are created on a same direction. So how we are going to create it, so you can just go to line here, and you can just create this line. And suppose if you want to make a collinear between these two lines, select this line and this line, so you can just go to collinear here. So you can see here both these lines are created on the same line on a same direction. Okay, so this is how we can create a collinear. And then finally we have equal radius and equal length. So suppose if you want to make a equal length for two lines, say now one line is I have one line here with a distance of say for example I'm going to make it vertically aligned, and let me give a dimension here. So this dimension I'll just keep it as a 7 inches. Okay, and then now I'm going to create a one more line here. Okay, so this line and this line I want to make it as a equal length. Say if this is 7, then it is going to be 7. If this is changed to 10 inches, then I want to make it as a 10 inches. So how we are going to do, just select these two. Okay, and then go to this equal. Okay, so in this case, suppose if you make it as a 10 inches, so it is going to change it to 10 inches. Okay, you can see here it has been changed to 10 inches. So this is nothing but a equal length. There will be one more option called equal radius. So suppose if there is one more circle, and I'm going to make a smart dimension for this. So this diameter should be 4 inches. Okay, so if you want to make this 4 inch and these two circles, it has a equal radius. So select these two and go to equal radius. You can see equal. So then these two become equal radius. Okay, and then suppose if you have one more circle here. So this is my one more circle, and if you want to make them concentric, so concentric is nothing but the two or more circles will have a single center. Okay, so select these two and make them as a concentric. Okay, so these are the different kind of relations. So I'm going to take some examples and practice exercises on sketcher environment, and I'm going to create a sketcher with fully defined sketches in the future videos. So then you're going to understand in which situation which kind of a relation can be used, and how we can reduce the dimensions, providing a dimension by using these relations. Okay guys, so once this is done, this is a complete sketcher tutorial. So the last thing what we have left is, so how we are going to get whether the sketch is fully defined or not. So you can see here in the bottom side, it is showing as underdefined. So underdefined is nothing but it is not at completely defined. Say for example, I just delete everything, and now let me go to circle, and I'm going to draw a circle here. So this is also going to be an underdefined because we have not provided a dimension for this. So I'll just go to smart dimensions, and I'll just go to here, and I'll just put it as a 8 inches. So once I give this, you can see here fully defined. So by using this, you can able to understand whether it is a fully defined or it is underdefined. This is also very important guys. Whenever you are creating any model, it is always recommended to keep all your sketches fully defined. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial, guys. So if you have any doubts, please comment in the section below. I will try to answer. Thank you, guys.